Alright, what's up YouTube? It's been a long time since we've done a video like this. I'm going to be basically reviewing the face of the franchise mode in Madden 21. I'm gonna try to be as honest as I can. Some of it might be good stuff, but a lot of it is gonna be bad stuff, as you can probably tell by the title of this video. I do like this school thing where you can kind of choose your little high school and put the name. I mean, it's a small thing, but I do like that. Now I'm obviously going to be editing through these cutscenes and all the annoying stuff that nobody wants to see. So I'll be editing through this as we go until we get to the NFL. So this is the end of the first game. As you can see, I'm just skipping through the rest of it. It's really easy to basically just score a touchdown on every play. So not much to see there. Just gonna try to get through this as fast as we can and get to the NFL. Alright, so we finally made it through high school. We are at college selection day. Really pretty similar to how it's been before. Really not too much to see here. I mean, I think it's still cool how you can pick your college. So college is pretty much the same as high school as far as just the gameplay and everything. It's just really easy. I mean, it's the games aren't difficult or anything like that. So again, I'm gonna edit right through here and get to the NFL as fast as we can. Before the draft combine, it gives you the option in this press conference to either pick your own team, which I do like that you have at least the option to pick a team that you want to go to, or you can let fate decide and let the simulation pick a team. But as you're going to see, this system is not a good one, because there's actually just no logic behind what team drafts you. So I'm recording this live. I don't know what team is gonna draft me, but I've done these before where I get drafted by the Bengals, for example, like a top 10 first round draft pick. Now, why would the Bengals use a top 10 draft pick on a quarterback when they just got Joe Burrow first overall? It's things like that. It doesn't really make sense, so it kind of takes away from the immersion. So the combine itself, again, just doesn't offer much of a challenge. You're gonna see the 40-yard dash here. It's basically just pressing buttons. I mean, doesn't matter how fast you time it up or anything like that. Doesn't really offer any type of challenge or any type of realism. Alright, so as you can see, we've gotten drafted by the Denver Broncos. Now, this one actually does make a lot more sense than it could have. Of course, as I sit down to record a video on why this game mode is not that good, it actually gives me a pretty good team to get drafted to because it kind of makes sense. They do have Drew Lock, um, but Drew Lock is kind of a question mark at this point. So one of the teams that definitely makes a whole lot more sense to get drafted to. Like I said, I've gotten drafted to the Bengals, which makes absolutely no sense. I've gotten drafted in the first round to the Texans. A quarterback is the last thing the Texans need right now. So Broncos are definitely one of the better ones I've gotten. As you can see here, an entertainer, this decision made you more of a selfish player. It's like, okay, but what does that actually do? I mean, from as far as I can tell, it doesn't really change like the cutscenes and stuff like that. Like, what does it mean? What does it do? How does it change my experience that I'm now a selfish player? You know what I mean? They do have the ability to practice in this mode. It all just feels so bare bones and like they could have added more, you know? So we're at the end of the Dream Team season, the second season. My stats for the year were 41 touchdowns and 10 interceptions, about 4,700 passing yards. So those are like MVP type numbers, right? But it doesn't actually let you get the MVP no matter how. I could throw for 60 touchdowns this year. I could have thrown for 60 touchdowns this year and it wouldn't have given me MVP because it's not actually part of that storyline, that I'm playing through right now. So, this whole idea of dynamic storylines it's supposed to make it, you know, so that really anything could happen, and what you do on the field determines how the story goes. But really it just kind of creates something where it's more restrictive because the storyline itself is kind of so, you know, so linear in that you can't really change it by what you do, you know. It's just really linear. Alright guys, so we finally made it to the end of the second season. As you can see, I won the Super Bowl. Okay, so this is after I simmed after the Super Bowl. It's basically again what I pretty much knew was gonna happen. After the Dream Team storyline, the season after that, you're gonna get an injury, and it's gonna sim most of the season. And so again, this is just another example of how there's just really not a lot of unexpected things that happen in this, and it just takes away from so much. Oh, mainly the replayability, like I was saying. Like again, a lot of the things that they tried to do this year were actual good ideas. They just weren't really like fully fleshed out, and just the way they implemented them just didn't feel natural. Alright, so here's my stat line after that playoff game. My first game returning from an injury, shutting me down for the year. I like how it says Father Time undefeated here, but that was the end of my third season. How's that Father Time? Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and go on to next season. As you can see, I'm 4 seasons in, and I can't even slot anything to this ability slot because I don't have them unlocked. And it just takes, and look at this second ability slot. I mean, I have to use Conductor because that's the only one I have unlocked. And there are 6 other abilities here that I just can't use. And I just think that takes away so much from the gameplay, because so much of this game are the abilities. And I think in kind of more of a sandbox game mode like this, that's just purely meant for having fun, you should just give the freedom to the player to just use whatever abilities they want to use. Alright, so this is officially the end of Season 4, I think. And so this season's gonna end with the NFL awards. You can see here I did win MVP and Comeback Player of the Year. We want something that we can play a few different times and have a different experience each time. Maybe you win MVP in your second year, and you know, stuff like that. When it's like this, I mean, the game already decides what's going to happen. I mean, obviously some of it does depend on you know, if you win certain games instead of lose certain games. I'm showing you guys what the storyline is if you're basically winning every game and doing like everything that you're supposed to be doing. I think that the next year, my 5th year, is going to be the last. So I'm gonna go ahead and do these playoffs. We're going to finish this up, and then we can talk about it a little more and get a little more into it. So stay tuned. Alright, so it went ahead and simmed through the entire playoffs. So another thing I really don't like, you go through a whole year and you think you're playing really good, you win MVP, and it doesn't even give you the chance to make it to the Super Bowl or play in the playoffs or anything. It literally just simmed the entire playoffs. So you can kind of see how it takes a lot away from the enjoyment and the gameplay. So we are in the off season, going into season 5. You can see here I am on the cover of Madden, which is cool, but I mean, and there's Snoop Dogg again. I wonder how much they paid him to be a part of this. That's the type of thing that I really think a lot of game companies, especially EA, they put a lot of money into having something like Snoop Dogg appear a couple of times in this mode, which is fine. It's not like I'm against that, but when there are so many other aspects of the game mode itself lacking, um, it really just makes you think that they could be using their resources better. We go 0-6, but I have no control over any of that. I didn't play anything this year. That's really just the game deciding that we're gonna start off 0-6. So I'm not really sure how it's gonna finish, but again, sometimes you just feel like you have no control over if your team is winning games or what's happening, you know? Alright, so as you can see, we're in week 14 now of the same year. Started off 0-6. I played one game against the Chiefs, and I threw for 6 touchdowns. And that just didn't really make a difference because the game is just deciding that we're a bad team this year, no matter how I play. And yeah, it does kind of shake things up and make things a little more unpredictable. But at the same time, when you have no control over what's happening and nothing you do can like turn your season around, and I mean, it just feels like things just happen and you don't even get insight onto why your team's not doing so good or why you're struggling this year. These types of game modes are meant to kind of make it your own and tell your own story as a player, you know? Like, people like to get immersed in these, and it's really, at the end of the day, this is a simulation football game. You want to feel like you are kind of going through the career of a quarterback. I mean, that's the whole point of a game mode like this. Okay, so that game's done. I threw for another like 500 yards, 5 touchdowns. It did say that our team's gonna have a momentum boost after that, so I'm guessing we're going to just go on a big winning streak. It looks like we didn't make the playoffs because it's simming through. So, alright guys, so I am probably gonna call it here. I've played about 5 seasons. You know, I think you guys are starting to kind of see the idea that I'm trying to get across. This is my 6th season. First of all, because I thought it would do this earlier, but I'm pretty sure after this year it would give me the storyline that I would have to be fighting for my starter position. And every time they bring that storyline in, it just doesn't make any sense because you could literally be the MVP of the league and somehow you're still having to fight for your starter spot. So that's one thing I did want to show you guys, but I don't want this to be a super long video. I thought it would give us that storyline earlier, but just know that no matter how good you play, it will make you fight for your starter spot, which is pretty ridiculous, I think. And then another thing that we would see if I was going to play this entire thing out is that it makes you retire after like 9 seasons. When, you know, like you're 30 years old and you could still be putting up 40 touchdowns a year and playing amazing, but it will make you retire and it won't give you an option. I think you guys are kind of getting the point. You know, like there are a lot of good ideas in this game mode. There are a lot of things that they could have probably polished up a little more before releasing, or just spent a little more time and a little more thought in making this better. Because, you know, first playthrough might be fine because everything's kind of new, but even on the first playthrough, you can immediately tell that most of the storylines don't even, I mean, they don't change based on context. I mean, they pretty much are the same every time, and you can tell really quick that a lot of it just doesn't make sense. And you know, for a game mode, I know a lot of people, probably a big factor in them buying Madden this year was face of the franchise. A lot of people like playing this game mode. You know, like for me, I got started playing 2K in my career. That's kind of what made me fall in love with sports games like this. And to just play this, expecting so much more, and it just being really an experience that at the end of the day isn't very fun, because all it is that, you know, there are predetermined storylines and your career is going to follow the path of those storylines, and it's uh, there's no replayability. There's just not a lot of depth to it. They put so much more thought into the details of the game modes that they know are going to make them a bunch of money. And I think that's why a lot of people have been so critical of EA, because a game mode like this that doesn't have any microtransactions isn't inherently going to make them more money. They obviously don't spend as much time or effort or thought trying to make this into a good game mode like they do for those other game modes that are going to make them money. Obviously, business is business, but it's really kind of sad to see a lot of video games going in this direction where all they seem to care about is money. So I think that is going to do it for this video. I'm sorry if I kind of went on a bit of a rant there, but I'm trying to kind of wrap this up in a way that makes sense for you guys, because I'm not actually going to play through the entire thing. If there's anything that you guys want me to clarify or talk a little bit more about, or you just want my opinion on something, please leave a comment down below. We're going to be putting a lot more videos up on this channel. I haven't done a video like this in such a long time that it feels pretty unnatural for me to do this, but definitely leave your feedback, and probably the most important thing you can do is sub to our channel if you aren't already, and like the video. That goes such a long way into helping me kind of get these videos out there and really get our channel kind of back to where it was all those years ago when we were putting out those COD videos and everything. So definitely expect some more content, expect some more videos. And again, like I said, leave a like, sub if you liked the video. I appreciate you watching this long, and peace.